My first job in the film industry was as a production assistant on a low-budget film called Danger Zone 2, because apparently Danger Zone 1 had been so successful. In the interview, the production manager, Todd King, asked me, "Do you know how to drive a motorhome?" And I said, "Sure, absolutely. I've driven a motorhome a lot of times. I've never been in a motorhome." And so because I said yes, I got assigned the biggest motorhome because the other two PAs had never driven motorhomes, so they got the smaller motorhomes. I'm on Interstate 10 freeway at Ontario, and all of a sudden a trucker pulls up next to me, frantically waving at me. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" "Great." And I look back forward and flames are licking over the windshield of the motorhome. So I pull the motorhome over. The fire department arrives maybe a minute later, which is very impressive, and they put the fire out. But here I am, a very young PA, recently out of film school, having to be in charge of this fire situation. That motorhome was replaced with another motorhome that I drove, and that one also caught fire. And so they brought out a third brand new motorhome for me to drive for the last week of production. On the last day, Todd King, the production manager, comes to me and says, "Mike, I realize you've been driving the good motorhome, but the other PA, who happens to be the friend of the producer's girlfriend, we want him in that motorhome. And so you're going to be driving the bad motorhome because you are responsible." And I said, "I will drive it, but if you leave me, I'll be very angry. You are not allowed to pass me on the way home." And so later that night, we're driving out of Needles, California, up a long grade, and I'm in front of the caravan, and the motorhome starts going slower and slower and slower. And we see the wardrobe van pass us, we see the makeup trailer pass us, we see the honey wagons pass us, we see the camera truck pass us, and finally I see the transportation manager and Todd King driving past me up the hill, and Todd refuses to look to his right to make eye contact with me. We get about a mile and a half further, and the oil light goes on, and the temperature spikes, and basically the engine is seizing up, so I pull off the freeway. Well, it turns out that all the people in the motorhome are the same people on the trip out, so they all got inconvenienced on the trip out and the trip back. They start vandalizing the motorhome to teach the production company that you don't do this to people. But the moral of this story is, if you do your job well, you'll get responsibility. And responsibility leads to bigger and better things. Because I handled the responsibility on that job, I got other jobs after that. It was awful that day, but it was great in the months that followed.